So I'm in the garage trying to figure out what I'm going to work on next. I was just going through some of the stuff I got from the Nationals. A few stickers. Got a lot more stickers than that. Here's the book that you get when you go to the Nationals. Tells you everything that's going on. There's a flyer for next year's Nationals. It's at the end of July this time in Ohio. Be there or don't be there, but if you're not there, you're missing out. And then here's a truck in, van in, I guess. It only shows vans on there. In Colorado, September, if anybody's interested. But here lately I've been working on the 48 Willys Jeep Rat Rod project. And honestly, nobody seems to want to watch that. So let's go work on a van because they need love too. Let's get into it. So it seems like people really aren't into the Jeep Rat Rod project right now, and I'm not really into it right now. I've got to come up with an engine and a transmission. Got to pull all of this apart and go clear down to the frame and weld everything back up and put it back together and figure everything out. Getting a headache just thinking about it. So we're going to work on the blue van, the 76 Ford E250. Going to do an AFR gauge. If you don't know what that is, air-fuel ratio. I've been having problems with the carburetor on that thing since last year. When I first put it on, it had a good carburetor on there, and I took it off to put it on the F100 when I did the engine swap, because that carburetor was a little small for the van and it was perfect size for the truck. But the one I put on the van has been nothing but problems. Doesn't matter what adjustments I make on it. I'm going to go ahead and change the carburetor, but before I do, I want to try to diagnose what's going on with it. So I'm going to hook this up. That should tell me my fuel mixture ratio, if it's going too lean, which is what I think it's doing. And here's the kit that it came with. You got your oxygen sensor and your gauge and the wiring. Here's the bunghole. I'll have to weld that into the exhaust. It didn't come with anything to mount the gauge, so I've been digging in some of my vintage gauge pile over here. Vintage parts. I have this double gauge, what do you call it, holder I guess. So I'm going to use that. Since it's got two holes, figure I'll go ahead and put a vacuum gauge on it. It has one in there, but it's about 10 off. I've been testing them with the vacuum pump. This one seems like it's pretty good, but it's old plastic and I don't want to put it in a work truck because it'll probably get broken. But I have this one from Harbor Freight I bought a couple years ago. It does boost or vacuum, so I'm going to put that in. It has 3 wires on it for the lights, and it has a button right here so you can change the color of the lights. So I'm not going to hook that part up. I already have one of these gauges in the van and the light is way too bright. So I guess what the next thing is I'm going to have to do is switch a couple vehicles around, move the van out by the garage, and we'll rip the exhaust off, put a hole in it, put the bunghole on it. Alright, I got my hole drilled and cleaned up. Time to weld in the bunghole. Fits kind of tight, so I think I might have to whack it with the hammer first. I'll do that and then drag out the welder. It's kind of buried right now, so once I get the welder drug out, I'll zap this on there and put the exhaust back in. Alright, so I got the bunghole all welded up. Does it look pretty? No, but I don't think it's going to leak, and that's what I'm looking for. So now I'll let that cool down a little bit, hit it with some spray paint, and throw the exhaust back on. Put the O2 sensor in it. That part will be done. Hopefully that's the hard part. All I should have to do from here is just run some wires. Alright, I got some paint on the bunghole there and got the O2 sensor in there good and tight. Time to slap this back under the van. and then we'll start doing all the wiring, which isn't a lot really. I'll have to find a place to drill a hole to run the wire through. I'm also going to have to figure out where to mount the gauges at. First I need to get this slapped up in there, and then we'll work on the inside and get everything hooked up. Well, I got the exhaust bolted back on and that part's done. Next I was going to mount the gauges. Issue is I can't find a spot to mount them. There's nothing at the bottom of the dash where there's a big enough room for 2 gauges. I already got 2 gauges on top of the dash. I don't want to add more there. So I think what I'm going to do is run to the parts store, see if I can find one that holds a single gauge, and go from there, I guess. The actual wiring it up should be pretty easy, but need something to wire it to. So I'm going to go waste a bunch of time running out of the parts store and see what we can find. Well, I'm back, found one. Had to go to a couple different stores to find one, but got it. And it looks like I already got a spot down here with a couple of screws that'll fit it. So that's pretty cool. Go ahead and get that mounted, get the gauge in there and run the wires. Then I can tap into this wiring mess. That should be fun. Okay, I got the wire ran that goes down to the O2 sensor in the bunghole. Now I gotta wire this wire up. It's got 4 different wires on it. I know what the red and black's for. Blue and white. I had to look that up. Of course, they don't give you a paper with any kind of wiring instructions or anything. They just give you this dumb QR code. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a screenshot of what the wires go to, so anybody's watching this that might do it, you already know. And they give me plenty of wire. I only need about a foot of this one. It's probably about 3 feet long. And the wire that went down to the O2 sensor was at least 2 feet extra. So I've got that all wound up and zip tied under the hood. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down, get it wired up. I think I should be able to just plug everything in and it'll be good to go. Well, for anybody that's new and didn't know what I was working on, this is my 76 E250. I call it the Magic Carpet Ride. Some people will get it. I've had this thing for over a decade. It's probably one of my favorite vans I've ever had. Now that you know what we're working on, let's take it for a drive and see if that thing works. Okay, here's the AFR gauge. I think it's mounted pretty good. I wanted to still keep the vacuum gauge, so it's just kind of hanging out over here right now until I find someplace else to put it. Well, it turns on. That's a good sign.
Here's another 94.
Give it a couple pumps. Fire it up, see what happens. Well, it seems pretty good right now at idle. for a quick drive and I'll see what happens. Well, it worked. Took it around the block. Seemed to work okay. Tomorrow I'll take it to work and give it a real run through and see what I can find out. So I guess that's it for this week. Got a big mess to clean up now. I think we'll probably get back on the Jeep next week. I don't know. See what comes up. So were you paying attention? How many times did I say bunghole? Let's add one more just to make sure it's enough. Bunghole. Okay. And as always, thanks for hanging out at Van Gogh Garage in Little Carburetor Spring, Colorado. Thanks for watching. Bye.